35 years after its settlement in 1683, Perth Amboy receives a royal charter from King George I. Via the efforts of Governor Robert Hunter, Perth Amboy becomes the first official city in the colony of New Jersey. One requirement in that charter is a city seal, and that image is still in use to this very day. Perth Amboy City Hall is the oldest municipal building from the original 13 colonies in continuous use. Perth Amboy is a colonial capital, with City Hall being the center of government. After the American Revolutionary War, Perth Amboy briefly serves as the state capital, with the original Bill of Rights first being signed within these walls in 1789. No stranger to City Hall is Solomon Andrews, a medical doctor, an inventor, and a mayor of Perth Amboy. Throughout the summer of 1863, Andrews launches his Arion airship, which sails over Perth Amboy. These are the first successful directional flights in the history of aviation. A gold medal is awarded to Thomas Munday Peterson by the citizens of Perth Amboy. Within City Hall, Peterson casts his ballot, becoming the first African American to vote after the passage of the 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Even the waterfront street layout and City Hall Circle are historic. In 1684, Deputy Governor Gowan Laurie designs a large central marketplace with a length of 330 feet per side, intersected by High Street and Market Street. Here, colonial merchants come to buy and sell their goods. It is a good spot for commerce, as both the New Jersey legislature and legal courts hold sessions in City Hall. 18th century patriots and loyalists walk these grounds, discuss the issues of the day, and set the course for New Jersey. And this land is not only known to those in the colony. Founding fathers Benjamin Franklin, James Monroe, John Adams, and George Washington also visit Perth Amboy and stroll these same streets and pathways. Today, paths along Perth Amboy's waterfront are a source of enjoyment and leisure. For 3 centuries, the waterfront is home to ships with dry docks and numerous maritime machine shops. Here, during 1898, the local nautical engineers make the Holland submarine workable. Thanks in no small part to Perth Amboy expertise, the first successful test of the Holland submarine takes place in the Raritan Bay, with inventor John Holland approving of the revisions. Also along the waterfront are numerous historic homes and mansions. The most famous of these is the Proprietary House. With construction starting in 1762, the Proprietary House is designed as the official residence of the royal governor. In that same year, King George III appoints William Franklin as the governor for the British colony of New Jersey. Benjamin Franklin visits William at the Proprietary House, as both men enjoy a strong father-son bond. Within these walls of this Georgian mansion, they argue about politics, which eventually results in the dissolution of their close family ties. Benjamin supports the American Patriot cause, and William remains loyal to King George III. Many of Governor Franklin's friends rest around St. Peter's Church, which is the oldest Episcopal parish in the state. New Jersey's first professional artist, John Watson, is buried here, along with America's first art historian, William Dunlap, also known as the father of the American drama. Also interred in St. Peter's are 4 generations of the Carney family. The Carney cottage is built in 1783 and becomes a residence of Perth Amboy's leading family. Constellation frigate captain Lawrence Carney resides here when not out at sea. Lawrence is famous for developing trade with China and freeing Hawaii from British military rule. Lawrence's son James attends the famous Eagleswood School. Founded by Marcus and Rebecca Spring, Eagleswood is an academy, initially run by Theodore Weld and the Grimke sisters, a transcendentalist site where Henry David Thoreau lectures, a major station of the Underground Railroad, an artist colony educating Louis Comfort Tiffany via his mentor George Innes, and perhaps one of the most progressive American communities of its day and time. Tiffany, Thoreau, and Spring used the ferry to New York. During the mid-19th century, this site also aids in transporting runaway enslaved people. Here, they are sent to freedom. For 100 years, this historic ferry slip ties Perth Amboy with Manhattan, a dual hometown relationship going back to colonial days. Currently, the slip is restored to its beautiful turn-of-the-century period. And not only are the waterways in use by the ferry, but also by airplane. A biplane carrying mail to Perth Amboy lands in the Raritan Bay. In 1912, the first New Jersey airmail service takes place here, with United States Postal Mail from Theodore Roosevelt, President Taft, and Woodrow Wilson. In 1869, Simpson Methodist Church is the tallest structure in the city, therefore the best location for a city clock. At that time, few people had pocket watches, so our historic town clock serves a very useful purpose. Placed in an Italianate-styled bell tower with an elaborate mid-19th century mechanism, it is wound by hand until modern times when electric motors are installed. This timepiece still chimes the daylight hours to this very day. At the dawn of Perth Amboy's industrial period, the first major factories produced terracotta. For decades, Perth Amboy leads the terracotta boom, producing it for facades as well as for decoration. Today, many of these are seen in Perth Amboy's downtown district along Smith Street, and even more adorn buildings across the nation, including this fine pediment at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. And major works by Perth Amboy artists appear in countless museums. Edward Kemys, known as America's first animalier, creates sculptures here. Louis Mora works in his personal studio located off Water Street. And George Innes completes close to 200 landscapes while in residence at Eagleswood. Located on a point jutting out into the Raritan Bay, at the junction of where the Raritan River and the Arthur Kill meet, Perth Amboy has stood since the 17th century. Here, our basic freedoms are first ratified via the Bill of Rights. It is the first incorporated city in the colony of New Jersey. Inventors successfully test their creations, memorializing Perth Amboy as first in modern submarines as well as first in flight. In this town, human rights are acted upon by the Underground Railroad at Eagleswood. And here, Thomas Munday Peterson becomes the first African American to vote under the 15th Amendment. And so, for all intents and purposes, historic Perth Amboy is, without a doubt, a remarkable city of firsts.